We were promised a perfectly connected, hyper-efficient global village. We built the ultimate communication machine. Yet the reality is that we spend our days staring at screens, completely alone in the dark. We sit isolated in our apartments, wearing sweatpants, relying on an invisible army of delivery apps to bring groceries and meals right to our doorsteps. We engineered a modern lifestyle where you can survive for months without ever speaking to another human being. The demographic proof of this isolation is staggering. Global birth rates have plummeted. Teenagers report record levels of isolation. The crisis became so extreme in the UK that the government appointed a Minister of Loneliness, operating right behind the black door of 10 Downing Street. In our obsessive pursuit of ultimate convenience, we stripped away the hassle of daily life. By doing so, we accidentally eradicated the essential social friction that forces us to bump into each other, make friends, and maintain a functioning society. Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky pointed out the exact mechanics of this shift. We used to wander through massive, multi-level shopping centers, physical hubs of community life. Today, the mall has been entirely replaced by Amazon. The shared emotional experience of sitting in a crowded cinema has been traded for scrolling through a Netflix menu alone on your couch. And when the physical office is hollowed out and replaced by a Zoom grid, the informal networks that drive a company's culture vanish along with the desks. As these communal spaces disappear, CEOs are realizing they've lost the pulse of their own organizations. This isolation isn't just a personal feeling, it's a structural breakdown in how businesses function. Executives looked at face-to-face interaction and saw a line item expense. They cut out that physical friction to save money. By doing so, they completely dismantled the exact collaborative environment that the human brain biologically requires to innovate. To understand why this is destroying companies, we have to look at evolutionary biology. For millions of years, wealth wasn't measured in money. Your value and safety were measured entirely by the strength and size of your tribe. Out on the savannah, the stakes were absolute. Separated from your tribe, you were defenseless. Being alone meant becoming a predator's next meal. Fast forward to the modern remote worker, and you hit a biological glitch. Your brain does not know the difference between being safely isolated in a basement apartment and being abandoned to predators in the wild. Inside your head, isolation triggers ancient biology. A bar chart tracks serotonin plummeting, while the amygdala, the fear center, fires into overdrive. Notice it flare with every digital ping. You become hypervigilant. A standard Slack message feels like a literal lion hiding in the brush. Corporate leaders demand high performance, deep focus, and breakthrough creativity. You cannot extract these results from a workforce chemically trapped in a primal survival mode. The relationship expert Esther Perel calls this social atrophy. Socializing is a physical muscle. When we rely entirely on generative AI and digital messaging to communicate, that muscle wastes away. We see the physical disconnect every day. We are losing the basic ability to speak to one another, remaining completely engrossed in our screens even when sitting right next to someone. This biological decay travels all the way to the top of the corporate ladder. Consider the toxic mythology of the modern CEO. The idea that locking yourself away to work 100 isolated hours a week makes you a business hero. The data shows a heavier reality. Chronic isolation physically strips leaders of empathy, drains their resilience, and destroys their capacity for clear-headed decisions. You end up with an empathy-bankrupt executive team, leading a highly paranoid remote workforce. A company infected by this level of social disease is incapable of surviving a competitive market. The immediate antidote requires a total shift in perspective. Businesses must stop treating employees like interchangeable software nodes and start managing them like the biological primates they actually are. There is a strict psychological distinction to make here. Solitude, choosing to be alone to focus, is healthy. Loneliness is a forced, damaging lack of connection. Top executives like Ray Dalio have built entire frameworks around this fact. Humans crave meaningful work and meaningful relationships, built by pursuing a shared mission together. Think about running a 5K. Doing that alone in the rain is miserable. Suffering through that exact same physical stress alongside a group of peers builds an unbreakable tribal bond. With traditional community centers shutting down around the globe, The workplace remains one of the only institutions left capable of forging these vital human connections. We need to redefine how we use technology at work. We shouldn't deploy software to avoid interacting with people. We should use it strictly to automate tedious, repetitive administrative tasks. Offloading the mundane work frees up the one resource we desperately need: the actual time and energy required to look a colleague in the eye, solve a complex problem, and build genuine trust. The companies that build sterile, ultra-remote, fully automated environments will hollow themselves out. The absolute winners will be the organizations that intentionally design for social friction and physical connection. In a world obsessively optimizing for digital efficiency, bringing heart and soul back into the business ensures that while others automate themselves into obsolescence, your team possesses the one advantage machines can't replicate: